There's an organisation called Men's Wellbeing, which is bringing a training course, for want of a better word, called Common Ground to Toowoomba for the third time in 3 years. Men's Wellbeing is a not-for-profit community charity. It was formed back in 1998 in the belief that building stronger communities of men makes a unique contribution to improving the well-being of individual men and, in turn, makes a family stronger, as well as the communities that those men belong to. So it might well be just what you're looking for. I want to introduce you to the men who are facilitating the course, which is starting in a couple of weeks' time. With me in the studio, Peter Campbell, Richard McEvoy and Richard Kirkwood. Gentlemen, welcome. Thank you very much for coming in.
Good morning, David.
Thank you, David.
So this is the third time that Men's Wellbeing has run Common Ground in Toowoomba. Overall, is it challenging to get men to understand what Common Ground is all about and to persuade them it's not a religious organisation, it's not anything they might be afraid of, in fact it's possibly exactly what they've been looking for?
I think Men's Wellbeing do a fantastic job of promoting it and letting people know what it is on the website. Men can go there, women can go there, anybody can go there and find out what it's about. I personally wrestle with it. I'd love every man to be a part of it, and that's something that is within me. But I also trust that men will find it when they're ready. I think a lot of men, including myself, I'm generalising here, it's not until I've had the 4x2 across the back of my head that I start looking for something, a career breakdown, a relationship breakdown, health issue, might force me to look into something and find it. It would be fantastic if men would get ahead of that and look at these things. Again, I just have to sit with it. It is what it is.
And for anyone concerned, he's not talking about a literal 4x2. This is not Fight Club. This is Men's Wellbeing. Rich, can I ask you what it is exactly is Common Ground? What happens at a 9-week Common Ground course?
Yeah, great question. So it's a 9-week program. It starts at 6. It's going to be starting at 6:30 each night in Toowoomba. Tuesday the 3rd of June we kick it off. That's going to be an information night, that first session, and then the following week we'll start with week 1 and run through until week 9. Each night goes for 3 hours, and we cover a bunch of themes that are relevant to men in this modern world. So things like masculinity and how they got there, their life stories. We touch into relationships and various other matters. You know, if you thought about the sorts of things that affect men these days, you'd probably pick most of them. But I'm not going to give them away all now because we save a little bit in reserve so that there's a little bit of a surprise element. But there's nothing too scary in there. And the men, by the end of the 9 weeks, they're feeling like it's a pretty well-rounded program.
Richard McEvoy, you did the Common Ground course a couple of years back, and then last year you came back as a facilitator. How did filling that role make you see the value of the course in a different light? You know, suddenly you're looking at it from a completely different perspective or through a different prism. What was that like, and how did that, make you appreciate what it was all about even further?
I think the real change in looking at it from the facilitator's perspective was getting a real appreciation of the effect, the massive positive effect these sorts of programs can have on men. So the intent is that we're creating a space where men can talk about issues and talk about things that are real from them. The program isn't meant to be therapy. We're not trying to rescue anyone. We're not trying to fix you. It really is just a space where men can be a little bit more vulnerable, talk about a little bit more intimate things, and be safe, to be challenged and to be pushed outside maybe their comfort zone.
Peter, it sort of begs the question, we've only seen the growth or the onset of groups like Men's Wellbeing and courses like Common Ground probably, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but maybe in the last decade or the last 20 years. It begs the question, what did we do before that? Did men not need groups like this, or is this a step forward because we've now got them, or are they responding to a need that just wasn't there? Maybe when our parents were growing up, our dads were becoming dads and looking at what it was like to be men.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure I know how to answer that one. Men's groups have certainly exploded a lot more over the last couple of decades. And there are a lot of different groups. I mean, even in Toowoomba now, we've got a men's book club, the Tough Guy Book Club. We've got a barbecue, a monthly barbecue. There's a dinner that's here. There's more and more available for men now. I think that as a man, it's wrestling with that. It's not weak to speak. It's okay to be vulnerable, but also to at times where that vulnerability has been used against me as well, where I've opened up and it's come back to bite me. The beauty of the men's group or a men's space like Common Ground is it allows that safety of confidentiality. It's that safe space where I can talk and really be seen and heard without being judged.
So maybe men's ways of getting together, maybe back in our father's era or our grandfather's era, they had them, but they didn't have the structure around them to make it completely safe, I guess. Is that the secret sauce of men's groups these days, maybe?
I feel so. Coming from a football background myself, and that culture of men meeting together and behaving like boys, really, just deflecting with humour, bullying tactics. There's those old type of groups that it was great to be a part of, but nothing really deep. Very shallow conversations, normally alcohol and other things involved. This is for me and for the men that I know, a much safer space to actually talk about real things, talk about things that are affecting my life.
Yeah. What about the other two? Whoever wants to answer, but is it confronting for men to come along sometimes, even though you probably look at the end of it and say, that was great? Can it be confronting in the process, Rich?
Absolutely, yes. There's been many times where men have come along and sat in the car park for a while at the information night, just having to take some deep breaths before they walk in the door, because it is confronting to talk about what's really going on for you, to have those conversations where you say that I'm struggling. It isn't easy for me at the moment, and unfortunately in a lot of places in our society, sort of out in the real world or the wild, exposing yourself like that in the moment may not be met very well. So if you say something like that at the pub, maybe get brushed off quite easily and quickly, and that's fairly deflating when you really are hurting. So Common Ground's a great place for men to be able to sort of step into that space, and we're very aware that it's difficult, and one of the key sort of guidelines that we use is it's okay to pass. So there's no pressure on anyone to spill their guts in any particular moment.
Fair enough. Okay. But it's talking, and even if you don't, I suppose you benefit from hearing what the other guys have to say, and there is that solidarity, I guess. Yeah.
It's called Common Ground for a reason. And just listening to other men and realising that there's other guys out there who have gone through something similar or going through something similar, or even something quite different to your experience, just certainly has opened my eyes and give me a bit of perspective along the way, which has really been helpful.
Have men's groups been or gotten a bad rap at the moment, with the likes of Andrew Tate, giving a lot of people the impression that all men's organisations are militant, women-hating, dens of toxic masculinity? How hard is it to fight that image that seems to be kicking around in some circles of men's groups at the moment? You guys know it's not true. I know it's not true, but that's the image that a lot of people have. What are your thoughts?
Like most things, there are all different groups, affiliations. Men's Wellbeing is what you're speaking about. There is something called like incel or red pill, and that's a very far-winged approach at men's work. That's very misogynistic. Where Men's Wellbeing also has women's wellbeing, and we work together with those organisations. That's not what we're about.
I can only speak from my experience, and I've been sort of embedded in the men's wellbeing and men's work for the last 2 or 3 years, and I've only had incredibly positive experiences, and it's interesting how few times women are actually mentioned when we're in a group and we're talking about what's going on. There's another guideline that we don't moralise, we don't philosophise, so it's really trying to talk about your own experiences and how you feel and what's happening with you.
Yeah, good point. Rich?
Yeah, look, from my experience, my wife sees that I'm a better man as a result of doing this. she encourages me to come along. It makes me more able to express myself. It allows me the opportunity to be the best man I can be, the best father I can be, the best husband I can be. And to be honest, there's times where if it's too long between sessions, she asks me, who do I need to call to get you along to the next men's wellbeing thing. So
that's right, yeah.
That's a pretty good endorsement, and we welcome women to come along to the information night and hear all about it, and encourage their partners to step into this space, because this stuff works.
Fantastic. Actually, just on that, the information night, which you've mentioned coming up on June the 3rd, do or can or should wives come along as well? Is it open to more than just the men who are thinking of signing on, or does that sort of sully it a little bit? I don't know.
No, not at all. It's great to have women along there.
Yep.
We encourage it. It gives a really great energy when the women are in the room, and we love to hear their perspective on things, and we love it for them to support their men. So if there are women listening who have someone in their life who think would benefit from this, by all means come along with them and find out some more about it.
Fair enough. All right. And Pete, just in closing, so come along to the information night. That is cost free. If people sign on to the actual course, there are costs involved. I don't know how much detail you want to go into, but how is that worked out? How is it funded?
So Men's Wellbeing is a non-for-profit, and it's a sliding scale. Without going into it too much, it's affordable for everybody.
Okay, so depending on what you earn, that's sort of what you pay, in a roundabout way.
Absolutely. And the man sitting there going, I don't know how much it is, or I don't know what it's all about, come along to the information night.
Yep.
There is, Men's Wellbeing would never let a man miss it for any reason, whether it be time or money, whatever that constraint might be.
All right, excellent. So June 3rd, do people have to let you know they're coming, or do they just turn up?
It's great if people can let us know if they want to come along. It's not essential. The best way to do that is to get onto our website, menswellbeing.org, and you can tab through that and look for Common Ground. We've just got some tabs there, and you can click on that, and that'll just register you as coming along to the free information night.
That info session is the 3rd of June, 6:30 p.m. It's happening at the East Creek Community Centre at 43 Kitchener Street, East Toowoomba, and you can register at menswellbeing.org/common ground.